So our next guest is Yasmin Angoe. And um, again, her book is called Behind These Four Walls. She writes mystery, suspense, and um, I don't know how long a career she's had with writing, but she'll tell us what her career has been in the writing field. So, Yasmin, welcome to Black Authors Matter TV.
Well, thank you for having me. Hello, hello.
You're welcome, and you
Thank
have
you
the
for
book
being
behind you
here.
as well.
Thank you. What did you say? I'm sorry.
Oh, I said you have the
She
book
was saying you
behind
have the
you,
book behind you.
but I just showed it to the audience, and we had a
Okay.
trivia question. So whoever answers first gets the book.
Oh,
And we already have one person who answered correctly.
okay.
That's Lawanda Beckham, but we're not going to give the answer because we want to see. We have two books, so then I'll tell you what the trivia was. So
Okay. I
anyway,
was surely about to ask. I was like, wow.
we that's how we give away books. We do trivia about the book itself, and it forces people to go look it up, and then if who answers first gets the book. So um, how many books have you published so far? How many? Um, uh,
Look, look at me. I'm counting in my screen. I
okay.
have 5 books that have published, and then my sixth one, which is a young adult, it will publish next Tuesday.
Oh, okay. Well,
Yeah,
congrats
yeah.
on that.
Thank
So these are not young adult. This is not young adult. This is adult for
you.
an adult audience. And now, are your books based in other countries, or are they all contemporary American settings?
Yeah, so my first three, the Nina Knight series, that is based both internationally, so in Ghana and in like Europe, the UK, and then also, but mainly based in Miami, the US. And then the rest of my books are based in various, well, not even various states that I am a little bit more familiar with, like South Carolina and in Virginia. So yeah.
Okay. What part of Virginia?
So the Not What She Seems, which was the last book from last year, that was in Charlottesville, Virginia, because my sister lives there. But I'm
Okay.
from Northern Virginia, the DMV area. So
Okay. Well, that's where Rhonda lives. She went off
okay,
camera for a minute, but that's where she lives in Maryland, though.
okay, okay.
So yeah, she's originally from New Orleans, but she's been in the DMV for a while.
Okay.
So uh, when
Gwen
she,
knows so well.
yeah,
Gwen
she,
knows me so well.
but she lives in the DMV too.
Who?
Yasmin does.
No, no,
Yasmin.
I'm from there, but I live in
Oh,
South Carolina.
oh, you're from the DMV. Okay,
Mhm.
all right. I
Mhm.
misspoke on that.
Yeah,
I
yeah, no problem.
misunderstood. Okay, so what attracted you or what drew you to the mystery suspense genre?
I think I've always just like I just love to be like scared. So I like horror, I love to be thrilled. I love like the whole mystery of it. It might sound weird, but I just love killing in books. And all of that stuff. So it's always been something since I was a kid. I just liked those kinds of movies and gravitated to those kinds of books. But I really read across all genres, but like the things that excited me the most, the things that I knew that I wanted to write about were like the darker elements of human life and like the darker things that humans can do and how they can come up out of it, if
Hmm.
they do. So some of them do, some of them don't.
Okay, so tell us the basic storyline for Behind These Four Walls.
So Behind These Four Walls is about a woman named Isla Thorne. And what happens is that 10 years prior, when she's a teenager, she's supposed to like run away. She lives in a group home in Florida. So she's supposed to run away with her best friend, Eden Galloway. And they're supposed to run away to Los Angeles and become superstars, that dream that they all have. But Eden says that they have to stop over in this town where she's from because she's got, to see about this family, the Corrigan family. So they go there, and the town is Charlottesville. And Eden says, I'll be right back. I'm gonna go. I need to get something from this family, and she never returns, so she just disappears. And Isla then is forced to go on without her, not knowing where she is, not able to talk to anybody about it because she's a runaway and she's afraid to like go back in the system. So for 10 years, she just doesn't know where this friend is. She comes across the Corrigans again 10 years later, and she decides, because she's an adult now, she is going to find out what happened to her friend and get justice for her missing friend from this powerful, wealthy family that nobody has ever touched before. So she decides that she's going to be the one to touch him.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, now, do you have experience in the social working field, or what made you create a character that's a runaway, was in a group home or whatever? What made you go down that path?
Yeah, well,
Oh,
so I'm a former English teacher, so I've dealt with students, in all gamuts of life and
okay,
things like that. And so yeah,
okay, okay. So you don't teach now?
I don't teach, and it's been a few years, but yeah, yeah. But I'm always a teacher somehow, some way. But yeah, it's been a couple of years.
Okay. What level did you teach?
I taught middle school and high school.
Okay, all right. And what did you because I'm always interested in where kids imaginations are now.
Hmm.
So as an English teacher, when you were teaching the students, um, did you find that their imaginations were stilted at all? I always wonder about with kids being on screen so much, does it take away from their imagination? Or do they transplant it
Mhm.
into some tech world? Like, do they take it and where are their
Right.
heads?
Right. Well, fortunately for me, when I was teaching, it was right before it was before COVID. And so even though we had technology, it wasn't as much as it was like right now. Like we could really do things in class that and we were still classes that had like computers, all the kids had computers, but they were still very much able to like, explore their creativity. Um, I was still very much able to introduce new kinds of books to them. So, especially being an English teacher, especially, dealing with like middle schoolers, you've got those kids who are reluctant to read. Definitely some of the boys who, don't like maybe what the reading criteria is for this, for our particular class. And so trying to find a book that will lend itself to the boys. Like Walter Dean Myers was a big, huge book that the boys, tend to love because that author was more someone that, was someone that looked like them and someone that they could really relate to. So finding those connections for the kids, and working with them to kind of explore that, and also working with them to explore their own writing, uh, that was, I think, the most enjoyable. And so when they had that aha moment, where they really got into like the story, and we could do other things like having trials. Like we would do trials on based off of some books, and the kids would pick whether they're going to be prosecutors or the defense, and like they would create this whole case and plead for the defendant or whatever. And so that really showcased their creativity. So yeah, it was a little bit easier then. And then once COVID hit, yeah, it was really hard at that time.
Yeah. Well, that's a creative way to structure a class to take it away from just the writing part,
Yeah,
but allowing them to be creative with it. I hadn't heard a teacher talk about doing that
yeah.
outside of law school, you know.
I've, oh, I want to be everything. I still say when I grow up, like I wanted to be everything, and that includes being a lawyer. So I think I like threw in every single profession that I wanted to be. And so like we go through, we did that. But yeah, I really like, law and arguing and that whole thing. So that's probably why.
Oh, okay. Now you have some books behind you. So are those your books as well?
Yeah, these are all these books over here are my adult, books and everything. And then this is just my YA, my first YA that's coming out. So it's my debut.
So
Oh, okay.
four books there. Is it a YA series or is that all the same book?
It's all the same book. It's
Oh,
Oh,
just
okay. Because
the
I said it
first
looks like it might be a box set or something.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
no, I had to even them out, right? So I just, get the whole book.
Oh, okay, for balance. That makes sense.
Yeah, yeah, that's
You don't want
it.
to just have one book on that side.
Right, that would
Okay,
be weird.
okay. That's that's good. That's good thinking
I was trying to
about
look.
the visual.
Yeah.
Mhm. So tell us about a couple of your other books that you have.
Okay, yeah. So my debut book was Her Name is Night. And that one came out in 2021. And that is about, and that whole series, this whole series right here, these three, is about a female Ghanaian assassin. So she's from Ghana because that's where my family is from. And I'm first generation Ghanaian American, so I was born here. And so I wanted to incorporate my ancestry, my history, what I grew up with. Well, I didn't grow up with assassins or anything, but like, the Ghanaian part of the Ghanaian culture, right? And incorporate that in the stories. So it is about a Ghanaian assassin who realizes that the men who destroyed her village when she was a child are still alive. And so now she has to go on her own personal mission of revenge.
Oh, okay. Okay. Now, you mentioned the Ghanaian culture. Tell us some things about Ghanaian culture that, well, first, let me back up a little bit. We really don't hear that much about Ghana um, in the United States in our news and
Mhm,
news delivery, unless a person actually takes time to actually go
mhm,
directly to international news or
mhm.
African news to find out what's happening. We generally hear about conflicts, like if there's some kind of war going on or something, kidnappings or whatever. So tell us some things about Ghanaian culture that the average person wouldn't know.
Well, like I think we're a very fun culture. I know, I think we mostly hear about like the Nigerian culture. That's huge, right?
Yeah.
But we Ghanaians, we're here too, and we clash, we clash with the Nigerians about that jollof rice. We have our jollof rice wars. And but like Ghana is just it's just a wonderful place and it's becoming more popular now. Every like in December, it's very popular. A lot of Americans, a lot of international people travel to Ghana in December. That's like, during the Christmas time and the weather is better there, so they travel. And it also has this huge event called Afrochella, which is like Coachella, but it's the African version. So that has really popularized Ghana. And then it's also just a really great destination for traveling. A lot of people have also decided to move back there for their roots or to get homes there because you could get land there and try to build and have um spend some of your time there, or some people just go and move there and live there. So it's become a place where people, especially here in America, feel like they can go back and they can kind of get to their roots. And that's something that Ghana has been really trying to push is like, come back. And we use the word Sankofa, right? Like, which hurry up and come back and see, your roots and all that. And we embrace you. We don't want you to ever think that, you don't belong here. So just wherever you're from, just come to Ghana, we'll take you. I think they're even giving out like I say it like it's a I don't know, but like citizenship and stuff. So they're really trying to make people feel welcome.
they've been. I know a couple years ago they had the year of return.
Yes, exactly, exactly. And that was the start of, really making anyone who from the diaspora who felt like, well, I'm not, I want to know where I'm from, but I don't know kind of where to start. So you can like start with us and we welcome you. And then from there you can find out like, wherever it is, that you're from. But like definitely the year of the return, like returning back to your ancestry, your roots, to finding out like, where you come from or where some of your ancestors have come from. Yeah.
Mm. Um, the door of no return, is it in Ghana?
Hmm.
Okay. I couldn't remember which country it was, but I thought that it
Interestingly, there
probably was.
are a lot of doors of no return. They're in different countries. I know I have a good friend who was actually a speaker at my event this past weekend,
Hmm.
Lisa Aubrey. She does these trips to Ghana all the time, these pilgrimages to Ghana all the
Hmm.
time.
Hmm.
And she actually also traveled to Cameroon and
Okay.
did a lot of research there.
Hmm.
And she was very instrumental in the discovery of one of the largest slave trade sites in the world,
Okay.
Zambia. And there was a door of no return there.
Okay.
They actually found a lot of artifacts that showed how many slaves actually went through Bimbia and went through their door of no return. And when
Hmm.
you look at it, it's so haunting
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
you're walking through it and it's a doorway, and then when you look through that doorway, all you see is water.
Hmm. Hmm.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And people know when they go through that door, they're never coming back. So it's very jarring just to even think about it.
It is.
Hmm.
It is.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, so then there's several. I mean, I knew that there were several locations, obviously, of where the slave trades were happening and where they would like send them so that they could, get on the boats and everything. But yeah, yeah. There's one in Ghana too. Yeah. The Elmina Castle. That's the I think the largest one that we have and the most known one that we have in Ghana.
Hmm. Yeah. So, are your parents here in the United States?
My mom is my dad is deceased, but my mom is. Mhm.
Okay. All right. So, and you have siblings?
I have siblings, yeah. They're all younger than me, from my dad's side, but yeah, like and they're spread throughout. Yeah.
Okay. So is there a certain amount of pressure? Well, expectation. That's the word I want to use.
Mhm.
To do well. I found that first generation African uh, children do well in schools here.
Mhm. Mhm.
Like if I, I think there was one African girl in my daughter's high school class, and she was in the top 10.
Yeah.
So, but I've noticed that there's a lot of success among the first generation Africans from all over the different countries.
Yeah, definitely first generation of any probably have a little bit more pressure only because their parents have come specifically, for, my parents came back in the 70s before I was born to go to school. So my mom went to Howard University and my dad started at one of the community colleges and didn't quite finish. But like so they came for a purpose, right?
Hmm.
And so when which is why I got a later start in life in becoming like an author, which is something I had always wanted to do from childhood. But like you can't tell your Ghanaian mom, I want to be a writer because she's like, what is that? Like I don't even understand what that means. What kind of money do you get? Do you get paid every week? Like there's many questions. And so I didn't even think to say to my mom, I want to be a writer when I got out of high school. So you really have to have a profession where you can make enough money so that you can be able to, send money back home because that's a big thing is you make your money and that's what they come here to make their money and to do very well, have their kids, have, some some opportunities that might be a little bit more difficult back home, and then to send, some of those resources back home to the family that's still there. So my mom still does it, sends it to my grandma and my uncles and all of the family there, and and yeah, and so that's, so yes, definitely. So even when at my big old age, when I finally told my mom, I'm gonna move from being a teacher and I'm gonna write. And she was like, like, are you paying them money? Like, what is this? Are they scamming you? She thought I was being scammed for years. It wasn't until like my third book came out that she, I think, finally got that I'm not being scammed out of my money. But yeah.
Yeah, but even native born Americans
Hmm.
whose families have been here for a long time
Hmm.
have to try to convince their parents or whatever that writing is actually a profession
Right,
and not
right.
just a hobby or something to do on the side or whatever.
Yeah.
You're
So
not,
people,
if
some
all
people
you're
are
doing is
deluded.
writing and you're not selling it, then it is a hobby.
Well,
That's
that is true. And I tell people who start or think they're in business or starting a business,
mhm,
it's not a business unless you got revenue.
And the
mhm.
Otherwise,
IRS
it's a
I
hobby.
tell you that too, because the IRS said
Hobby.
if you've taken a loss in your business for more than 3 years, this is
Mhm.
a hobby. It's no
Right.
longer a
It's
That's
not a
true.
business.
That's true. That's true. They sure do that. Yep.
So, did you find it to be difficult to break into the major publishing industry? Did you find that difficult at all?
Yeah, I mean, it's still difficult. Like there's still a lot of things that you have to learn. And I had to learn how to do it because when I actually really tried back in my 20s to get my first book out, that was a whole different experience, right? That's when we had to like type it on our typewriter and mail us, a selection of it to like these agents that we would find in writers market, that big huge book. And then we would send them like a self-addressed stamped envelope so that when they reject us, they can send it back to us in our envelope with our stamps. So like that, how I tried to start out in the writing world. And so after 20 years, of raising kids, of being in a military family and stuff like that, when I wanted to, make a real go at it, now we have technology. Now you have to email everybody and you have to, check their social media to see, what they want and all this other stuff. Um and so yeah, it was definitely a learning, curve, having to learn all of that again and get on social media and try to, engage with people, engage with agents then. And then going the traditional route. So, trying to find an agent who will represent me because I didn't have any money to do it self-published or anything like that. So I was like, I have to do traditional if I can, where I don't have to pay anything because I don't have any money and I don't know how to market myself like that. And so that was really hard, because you put yourself out on the line and you want people to receive you well. You're asking these people to represent you, and all these people are saying like no. So I mean, I had a lot of rejections before I finally got my agent.
Well, it looks like you're definitely on the road. You're on the path. You've already crossed some hurdles that
Yeah.
other people wish they had already passed. So it looks like you're on your way. So congratulations on Behind These Four Walls, as well as your next book, your young adult book that's coming out. And I
Really
don't
quickly,
know if we had a
what's the young adult book going to be about?
So the young adult book, She Drinks the Light, is actually a supernatural horror and fantasy. And that one is a little bit more cultural because in it it is about a young girl named Adayi, and they live on a small a small island right off the coast of South Carolina, because we've got like all of those islands that are like Gullah Geechee and all of that, right? And so they're a very like enclosed kind of like island. And then they find out that, you know, there are these like vampires that are threatening like their people and their livelihood, and they are very much still ingrained in their African culture. So it is a story in which, you know, this African American girl is learning about like who her ancestors are, and the vampires are actually Ghanaian vampires called the Aje. So it's a whole lot of West African folklore and mythology, people like from the Ashanti and all of that. All of my West African culture I tried to put in that book.
You know, it's giving me blood and bone, Children of Blood and Bone vibes,
Mm.
because I was all into that book before I realized it was actually a young adult reader, because the story was so good that I
Mhm.
was enjoying the story as an adult.
Mhm, mhm.
Your your young adult book sounds like, or your young reader sounds like something an adult would appreciate as well.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, she's 18, right? So I definitely wanted it to be, but she's still, I had to make her where she's young adult because that's what they specifically asked for. But she's very much, a mature 18. She's supposed to be the next in line to be the head of their community of people, and their community of people are called the kinfolk. And so like she is very much, it's all about like this village and keeping your culture, but like learning, different cultures and learning, what's out there beyond what you've always grown up with. And so yeah, just like Children of Blood and Bone, that has a lot of mythology in there, West African mythology from like the Nigerian side. I have the ones from the more Ashanti and Ghanaian side. So there's Anansi, and there's Nyame, which is the sky god. And so all of that is thrown in this book.
Mm.
Okay. All right. Sounds interesting.
Thank you.
Well, thanks so much for being a guest on the show, Yasmin, and continued success with all of your books.
I
It's a
appreciate
very
that.
interesting topic that we were able to discuss, just
Thank you.
learning some cultural things
Are
that
you
we
going to
never.
tell me what the trivia is now?
Oh, the trivia was, I'm
Thought I
sorry.
forgot.
The
I did.
trivia was that the author is a first generation American from what African country? So that was the trivia.
That was a good one. That was a good one.
I know the answer. I
Congratulations.
know the answer.
So we did have a winner. So Lawanda Beckham, you need to DM your address to just go to the same page you're watching the show on, DM us your mailing address so we can mail you your book.
Yeah, congratulations, Lawanda.
Okay, thanks so much. Have a great night.
Thank you. Thank you both. See y'all.
Okay, bye bye.
You.